Awesome. I've got both. Recording. I'm going to bring up my participants just in case. Is there anything screen sharing wise you're going to want to do?
No, I don't have anything like that.
Okay, I didn't think so. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself, and then I'll do a small introduction of you, and then we'll go into like your maybe kind of how you got to where you are, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. Good afternoon, good morning. I'm not sure what day it is. From Asha Ayala, WorkReady Program Director of the Gresham Area Chamber of Commerce. I am here with Daniel, is it Grondin?
Grondin, yes.
Grondin of the Portland Regional Distribution Center of Subaru. We had the opportunity in December to talk to another Subaru manager who runs the Gresham area one, but this one I thought Daniel was really excited and has a little bit different perspective. So Daniel, you are a supervisor at the Portland plant, is that correct?
The Gresham plant.
Oh, you Gresham, okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna just stop talking now and I'm gonna let you tell kind of how you got to where you're at.
No problem, totally understandable. We have two in the area, so it's easy to mix them up. So for me, graduated in 03, and then from there, I actually went into working overnights in different retail stores. Kind of worked a little bit in Walmart, worked at Lowe's for a long time, worked at a warehouse down in the industrial district. And a lot of my kind of knowledge and experience came from working with a core group of people. Nowhere more than 5 or 10 was an average as the team that I generally worked with or around. From there, I kind of worked overnights, kind of stocking shelves or moving product, stacks of lumber, things like that. And it really helped me understand how to work with the team, but also be kind of that self-directed individual. Obviously, team-oriented is a huge critical part, but there are so many times that you have to work individually and you got to be able to drive that for yourself. And that is one thing that I kind of excelled at. So that helped me with my career at all those other companies that I had. Because of that, I worked for, I was able to move myself up in like Lowe's before I came here. And that's kind of like what set me up to be able to succeed here at Subaru now. So I started working at Subaru around 2.5 years ago. And absolutely love every aspect of it. Kind of what we're doing is bringing product in from our supplier in Japan and kind of doing as much as we can to get the product out in time. Absolutely very, very motivated kind of a team right here. So we want to make sure that we get everything done at time and, you know, on pace for our customers. And we definitely are self-driven. So we are each individually strong at what we do, and we bring that to a cohesive team to make it function throughout the entire facility.
And that, you know, I think when I was talking to Paul, but I think what struck me the most was, so first of all, as somebody who's experienced working with people that do overnight shifts, you've done the Lord's work. I worked at Cabela's for 3 years as our marketing manager. And man, when it was time to reset the store, bring new product in or change out seasonal stuff, you've got my admiration for that. That is definitely self-directed work. It's tough. But I think the thing that was fascinating to me is I went to our regional distribution center, which is out of Utah. And it was like a kind of if the warehouse was running a little lean, then that meant they were doing their job. And it was just the facility and the production and the amount of seeing it from the store level where it's like, man, it just didn't get on that truck and get to us meant that we didn't make sales, or meant that, you know, in your case, these are car parts of all.
Well, and that's what it is. Absolutely. So like we definitely send a lot of things to our distribution centers, but more importantly, we send a lot of things directly to our retailers. So we send anywhere from 500 to 700 lines out just directly to our retailers. And that is a customer who does not have their car running right then, right there, which means, you know, for instance, if you have a Subaru and it's going to be icy the next day, you want to be able to drive somewhere. So we try very, very hard to make sure that we are servicing that customer. And it's something that we absolutely talk about all the time. I mean, we don't see the customers on a day-to-day basis. They don't come to our warehouse at all, but it's something that we know that if we fail them, we have failed somewhere else in the chain as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's a really interesting perspective. It's very easy working in the warehouse style to get very kind of disconnected from that and be like, oh, they're just parts. But then all of a sudden, if you're driving like your own Subaru, and you're like, crap, it kind of all comes together. And I think that it's great that you guys have such a team culture there, where it's like, no, what we do here does actually affect somebody whose like car is broken down, is at the dealership right now needing a part or needing to get to work or whatever the case may be.
Absolutely. And it's one of those things that we try and incorporate that through every aspect of the business. So we actually get emails and stuff like that to let them know that they got a part that's coming in air freight. So they flew it in from Japan to drop it to us. They let us know about that, and we get that checked in, checked out within 45 minutes of it being in the building.
That's impressive.
Yeah, so we really try our hardest to make sure that it can be out there the next day. So if we get that email and they know it's coming in, we'll try to get to, you know, anywhere in the country the next day, just so we don't have to have that individual, that customer, not have a car for the next day or two.
What motivates you about your particular field? And maybe you can talk a little bit about what you specifically do. You said you were just promoted recently, and kind of what your team does.
So right now I am over the shipping team, but I do help oversee the entire facility. So really the biggest thing that motivates me is being able to work with these same people day in, day out, and be able to see the progression and see how we can make everything smoother and better for everybody else down the line. I know that it has been something that I started here around 2.5 years ago, and every single week you can see progress being made, and it really does help your motivation, because you're not seeing anything being stagnant. You see that everything is being improved. You see that the team is building, the team is growing. You know, some people end up leaving because they miss being home. We get in new good candidates, new good people, and we strive to be the best. I mean, it really is quite nice to be able to work with the same core group of people and all be able to get along. It helps so much. And then on top of that fact is, like, you know, we are lucky in the fact that we get to have a set schedule. So for us, the earliest that we're in now is around 6 a.m. and we're leaving 4 p.m. and we have 2 different shifts that do that. So it's still only 8-hour days. So I get to go home at the end of every day, no later than 4 o'clock, go be with my family and enjoy the weekends as well. You know, that is such a difficult thing to find now in so many different companies. And this facility and this company tries really hard to have an actual work-life balance, which is really, really nice.
What kind of education do you need to get started at Subaru, or the member of your team?
To get started, honestly, high school diploma, or high school diploma, so a GED. That's to get started, to be able to get into the building and kind of build yourself within the company. I know that we have contract workers that start here, and if they don't have that, we work with them to help them and motivate them to get that going. So if they're performing well and they want to make that next step to work for Subaru of America, they have to, they're able to get that GED or that diploma for them. That's kind of the base there. You can run the gamut all the way up to your master's or your doctorate if you want to get all that. But for the base, it's definitely that high school diploma or your GED. For me personally, that's what I have right now, is I have a diploma from high school, and that has helped me be able to move up in the company. And there's definitely opportunities within the company to be able to have them help as you get a bachelor's degree or associate's degree, or up to a master's if you want to get that as well.
So we talked a little bit about options to get started in education, but what got you interested? What got you interested to move from Lowe's to Subaru? Because that's kind of a little bit of a jump in terms of
it's a big
product.
jump. Absolutely. It's definitely a big jump. For me, the biggest thing was since I got out of high school, I was working in the kind of that retail industry, but it was behind the scenes. For example, that warehouse work, that high pace, quick motivated, quick turnaround, see everything that you're finishing at the end of the day. Like, you took all of this, put it over there, it shipped out, you know what you did. And I did that for so long, and I needed something a little bit different because I'd kind of gotten out of that role as I was progressing. So I looked for a company that was local, because I live in Vancouver. So I wanted something that was pretty close to me, that was local, understood the area, understood kind of that quality of life that people really enjoy, and kind of all of those criteria Subaru hit everything. I mean, they are a strong team, strong company, and getting back to warehouse work is what I enjoyed. It was something that was definitely team oriented, and it's so hard to find a cohesive team that's the same team consistently. And this warehouse definitely has that. I also liked being able to do physical work. It's not so much behind the computer. It's not so much, you know, Excel spreadsheets and emails, you know, 40 times a day. I mean, those are part of it, but the majority of it is being out on the floor, seeing people, helping people, driving kind of that team dynamic and being able to get those products out to customers. I mean, warehouse work for me is a nice way to get good healthy walking in. So like we're out there walking up and down the aisles every single day. We're staying motivated. We're staying in shape. We actually are currently running a kind of like a game throughout the company, or team oriented as well, for who can get the most steps throughout every day. And then that goes for over the next quarter. So we actually had a team in our facility that won it last year. So that was really cool. But it's things like that that help me kind of stay motivated. And one of the reasons why I like working in the warehouse environment. It's also cool. I get to drive on forklifts, and you know, it's one of those things like when I was a kid, I was like, oh, hey, he's on a forklift. That's fine. So it's kind of cool that you can bring that later on in life.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. So one thing I do miss, you know, I love my job now. I did like you did. I switched a little bit in my career. I've spent most of my career in workforce development, but I took 3 years off and worked at Cabela's, and it was a lot of fun. But I'm telling you, to cross our store from the bargain cave to the warehouse. I got those steps in like daily.
Yeah.
And it was really, especially on event weekends where I was just basically like circling the store. But back to your kind of, you know, working with team, I also worked briefly at the Timber Industry Association, and to see the, for lack of a better term, the big boy toys, like to stand next to a lot of that, like the fellers and I mean, just wild, right? So they're like, is that kind of little kid like, oh, I get to play with the big stuff now? You know, yes, you have to be certified and qualified and take the training and be safe and be aware of what's around you and all of those things, you know, that we adults like know that have to do. But there is a little part of you that's like, yeah, I get to work with the really big fun stuff right now. And when I went to our distribution center, the sheer size of the equipment and just the belts to get anything, I mean, just the conveyor belts to get things in and out, like just in and out, like not even the scanning or the sorting or the, you know, just, and all of that was just kind of wild to me as I'm standing looking up like a 2-story thing of like how they get things just physically in and out of the warehouse. It's pretty cool. So there is that kind of fascination with mechanics as well, I think.
And that's the thing is like, it was really cool because I was able to bring my son in to kind of show him where I worked, and I was, you know, took a tour, and he was like, you got to drive? I was like, yeah, I got to go. Absolutely. Like, you know, hopped on, showed him a little bit, you know, things that I can do. And like, you know, we have 45-foot tall racks and stuff like that. So to be able to go up in the air and just see how massive our facility too is, it's one of those little things. It's the little things that you, when you were 10 or 12 years old, that you saw somebody else do, is like, I want to do that. I can actually do that now. So it's kind of bringing yourself, you know, you can look back as a kid and enjoy that where you are as an adult.
So this is kind of a nice segue. Like my program kind of covers K through 12, although this first year or so I've been focusing on mostly high school, but even with middle school, it sounds like there's some skills students can build, which would be some familiarization with technology. Again, you mentioned self-driven and being motivated. So that, you know, if somebody's not over your shoulder all the time, if you're willing to meet those goals and meet those objectives, what other skills and attributes make somebody successful in kind of your profession of inventory warehouse work?
So yeah, definitely self-motivated and driven. I would say a really big one is honestly being able to take coaching or like some directed learning. So a lot of people say they're open to ideas and want to better themselves. That's not always the case when they say that. So you really need to have that self-awareness. So when somebody brings you an object or an idea that you can improve upon, or something you're doing well that you can show to others, that is really an important attribute that a lot of people say they have, but need to actually be self-aware and show that they do have it. There are definitely times when people aren't, you know, always performing as well as they should or could, honestly. And then you bring them up, let them know some tips and tricks, let them know some ways to help out. And then they actually take that, build that, and can see that their numbers are better, that their numbers are performing. And it's something that is really important to be able to take that in. So yeah, I mean, you have that, then you have the self-motivated thing, which is absolutely huge. You need to be able to do your own task by yourself, but be able to find a way to have that incorporate into the overall team dynamic. And that is something that is crucial to being able to bring that together as a team and perform well. Team motivated, we have being able to take coaching. I would say the ability to be open to learning as well. So if you are nervous about hopping on a forklift, be willing to take that time to know that it's going to take a while to learn. Not everybody can just hop on a forklift and learn how to drive it in the first 2 days. I know I couldn't. I'm training people and they're taking their time to doing it. You want to be able to just be able to branch out though, out of your comfort zone and try those new things and those new skills that really help you out to be able to perform and grow yourself as a person. It's so nice to be able to look back and see kind of what you did 6 months ago and see where you are now, or see where you were last year to see where you are this year. I'm sure I'm missing something. I know I'm missing something, but I can't remember.
No, you're doing fantastic. A lot. Like, again, I mentioned earlier before we started recording that I talked to an architect yesterday, and he had shared something with me about like how art got him, creativity got him into this. It sounds to me like you also have room for a lot of flexibility and innovation. And I've heard too that Subaru supports its employees in a way that it allows that innovation, mentoring, kind of that, like, it's okay to think outside the box if there's might be, you know, new ideas to bring to the table. So
absolutely.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off. We are absolutely open to new ideas. So especially in our facility, we have only been around for about 4 years. So we know that every single year there's a way for us to improve. And we have, 50 different people plus in our building that see things in a slightly different way. And we have incorporated so many new ideas to be able to help and increase our ability. And what's nice is when we see somebody who has this idea and we can incorporate that, we reward them. You know what I mean? We give them, small encouragements, and they understand what they did, helped, they were rewarded for it, and we really are able to explain to everybody else that what they did was so helpful and so beneficial. Then we have more people want to come up with other ideas, and not all of them are home run hitters, but every little thing helps, and that will overall help everything that we do for the next year, 2, 3, 4 years to come. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about career options. So you are, so you come in, say you're 18, you got your background check and your drug screen done, and you're here and you're ready to work, and you have a high school diploma. And then if you do really well, do you get to, because I'm sure, and I do understand that there's contract workers and there's Subaru workers. So those are two different things. But within Subaru, I would imagine to some extent, you get to a ceiling eventually. Not everybody can be the CEO. But it sounds like there's a lot of improvement possible within the company itself. So what kind of career options besides there's warehouse, the warehouse still has to have an accountant, marketing, HR, what kind of stuff?
Everything. Like, I can't even tell you all of them because there's too many, but I can definitely give you a nice list. So obviously the first thing, like in our own individual warehouse, you have your SOA employee, you have a lead, you have a supervisor, you have a site manager, you have admin. From there, we also have packaging specialists. We actually have, not on site now, but outside within that work with us, we have literally a packaging engineer. So like someone who designs cardboard boxes to be able to hold the product that we are shipping throughout the entire country or world. That's something we have. You definitely have accountants. We have outreach, community outreach. So that is because Subaru has a huge love promise, works with dogs, works with people, kind of reaches out to any community. That's a huge, huge aspect of everything that Subaru does. So you have carrier specialists. So basically they are the ones that are reaching out to all carriers throughout the country to find ways to transport product from location A to location B. You have everybody who does all of our ordering, and then you have everybody who does all of our shipping. And by ordering, I mean we have essentially individuals who are specifically trained to learn the products that are needed for the coming month or the coming 2 months, and they're the ones that plan out to make sure that it's able to get there on time. So you have all of that, and then you also have on top of that, like you have very specific. I don't know how to explain it, but over in like kind of our home office, they have a whole bunch of other different things that I don't get a full grasp of themselves. But I know that I've dealt with HR. So any amount of HR, people that work on our benefits. So at the end of every year, we kind of sign up for like health coverage and things like that. And we have people who really enjoy that. So they reach out to us every year to make sure that we're covering it correctly. Contract negotiators, I mean, like everything. I mean, you name it, you can find it. It just depends if you want to go for it.
So I'll just got like one or two more and we'll wrap up. So looking back, you know, you got your diploma, you came in, and then you knew kind of what you wanted to do. You made a very planned jump.
I did.
Best advice, piece of advice for a student looking to get involved in whether it's the specific car parts industry or if it's actually just kind of warehouse work overall, because I think people look at maybe a specific Subaru, but they don't see that a lot of those skills can translate to different warehouses, right? It might be different systems, but you definitely still have to have that sense of urgency and understanding of the SKUs and what you're working with when you're in a warehouse. So what's the best piece of advice you would give a student looking to make a career in this field?
The best piece of advice would be motivated and self-driven. Those are the two biggest things. The harder you are at working, the better chance you have to create a career anywhere. If you already have experience at another warehouse, that could be in any warehouse you want. If you're working for the PetSmart warehouse, Petco warehouse, if you're working for the Walmart warehouse, if you're working for that Amazon warehouse, all of that can help you and learn new things. You're working with your scanner, your RF scanner. Any of that can translate into working into a warehouse and help you build that career over time. If you are self-driven and if you're motivated, you're gonna shoot for that goal that you want. If you want to be that supervisor, if you want to be that site manager, if you want to be the guy who oversees all of the sites in the country, you need to be able to be self-driven and motivated. Those are the biggest things that I could honestly say. It is crucial that you are able to take your time and learn something correctly and then be able to succeed and keep pushing yourself for that. Any warehouse experience will always benefit the next warehouse experience. If you are working at a warehouse A and you were there for 5 years and you're just like, you know what, I need to try a different place, different company, different values of that company, it's gonna absolutely benefit you. I do know that when we have our contract workers come in and they have experience at another warehouse, you can see them take off and see how much quicker they're able to move up within our own facility. And you can see that determination that they want to get better themselves and they want to work for a company that wants to make them better. You know, it is such a nice thing to see somebody come in and who wants to push themselves to be the best that they can be and doesn't want to just kind of, I'm here, showed up to work, thanks for coming, bye. You know, not everybody needs to hit a home run, but it's nice if you can always, you know, try to hit that home run.
I don't think everybody will. Yeah, I don't think we're all capable of hitting the same home runs, but what you're saying definitely is true. Is simply that if you can come together and do that and then be in a culture too, a lot of things we talked about have to do with culture of the company and how important that is to your own personal values. I know I'm like you, I like to work my shift and love my job and I like to come home and then I enjoy my weekends. Absolutely.
I know that a big thing for working for Super is that fit too, is if you are a good, strong, honest, integrity-driven individual, you will absolutely succeed within this company. We want to make sure that anyone that is brought in works well with everybody else and works well with the team. So that fit is such a crucial thing. But it's also nice to be able to go home at the same time every day, you know? So I totally understand that.
Work-life balance is important. Daniel, I am going to say a huge thank you to you for being willing to participate in this. And then if anybody has any questions about the facility or what you guys do, who's the best person to reach out to?
At the facility?
Mm-hmm.
So Marissa, she is our administrative assistant. She's the one that kind of covers everything in the front. She's our main line of defense for the phones, if you will. And
Perfect.
whoever can be allowed in the facility, she'd be ideal to contact. And then obviously I am in here Monday through Friday, every single day of the week. So you know my name now, you can always ask for me.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Daniel. I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, you too.
Take care.
Bye.